So, good afternoon and welcome to the Non-Exec. I'm Justin Levine. Just finishing off Friday afternoon and just having a little light-hearted look. A friend of mine and a client asked me yesterday what kind of books I read, and which books have been influential in my thinking when it comes to business. Like many people, I read a lot of books. We get through here in this particular household about 1 or 2 books a week. So they feature pretty heavily. So I thought I'd dig out some of the books that last year have made quite a bit of a difference in terms of my thinking. Call it my top 5 or top 6 books. So with no further ado, first one that came to mind is this one here. So Robert Peston, and it's called How Do We Fix This Mess? This is a great book. Robert Peston, most of you will know as a TV pundit, used to be the former editor of Financial Times, I believe. And in this particular book, How Do We Fix the Mess? It's all about the banking crisis, 2008, 2009, and most currently. And for those of you that are interested in the general financial mess that we find ourselves in, and it underpins everything that you might read about and see in the newspapers, this book explains it all. It's a classic, highly recommended. Second one, and it actually comes as a pair of twins, are these 2 books. So Fooled by Randomness and The Black Swan by Nassim Taleb. That's Nassim Taleb, T-A-L-E-B. So many of you will have come across Nassim Taleb. He's a former market trader, I believe, that used to trade derivatives and such like in New York and wrote a book. The first one was The Black Swan, and that was about predicting unpredictable events. A fascinating book, particularly relevant for today. And the second one was Fooled by Randomness. For those of you that think that you are star pickers of equity or things that go up like currencies or stock markets, this is a great one because it sort of pops that bubble and says that maybe you're not quite as talented as you think. There you go, 2 recommendations, Nassim Taleb. The next one along, one that's on my current reading list at the moment, is Tools of Titan by Tim Ferriss. For those of you, now this has hit the New York bestseller sort of league at the moment and is very current. Listen, with 3,000 books at last count on our library shelves, this one is very, very close to the top. Tim Ferriss is a blogger and wrote a book called The 4-Hour Workweek. He went out and did podcasts, which are highly recommended, by the way, and he interviewed about 200 leading CEOs of all sorts of businesses like LinkedIn, leaders within industry, typically based in the West Coast of America, but not necessarily so. And the interviews are fascinating because he really gets under the skin of the people and finds out what kind of habits they have as individuals. This book condenses all of them and puts them into one condensed volume. It's pretty thick. I haven't yet finished it, and forgive me, you can see my fold down mark. I got to tell you, this is an absolute goldmine. It's really genuinely interested, really, really interesting book. So there you go. Last one in terms of books is, and you're going to forgive me actually, because this one, if you look very carefully, has been slightly eaten. That wasn't by me. Don't buy 2 dogs at the same time because it's not a good idea. That's what happens to your books. This one's called Venture Deals by Brad Feld, F-E-L-D. One of the things, if you operate in private equity or venture capital or angel investing, is getting something that can explain to you how the industry works in terms of what a deal structure looks like. So if you ever are sat in front of somebody and you are looking for investment into your business, you need to find and go up a vertical learning curve in terms of, well, how does it work? I know a little bit about this. I've worked in private equity, but this particular book, Venture Deals, and it's an expensive book. It's over £30, this book on Amazon. But I can't tell you what an absolute superstar of a book. If you want to know about how deals are put together, how capitalization tables are put together, how the investment pre-money, post-money valuations, convertible debt, all the different ratchet mechanisms that you might want to come in and you're discussing when you're actually getting an investment, or indeed if you're sat there as an investor, this book is absolutely superb. Venture Deals by Brad Feld and Jason Mendelsohn. And the last but not least is one of my New Year's resolutions was to give up my daily newspaper habit. Massive fan on current affairs, really like to keep up to it, so read a newspaper a day. I swapped it. Years ago I discovered The Economist. I happen to like that particular cover. Not as much as the other one with Donald Trump in a particular another pose, but he's featuring quite heavily at the moment. The Economist is not as much about economics as you might think. It's a wonderful, wonderful condensed magazine because it's neutral in terms of commentary. There's none of the hyperbole and sort of over-the-top stuff you see with a lot of newspapers. It's fairly neutral, fairly dry, but absolutely, utterly fascinating if you want to know about world events. So listen, it's a bit light-hearted, and I know that, but I wanted to share a few of the interesting things that I've read that have made a bit of a difference to my reading habits. And yeah, wish you a very good weekend. Thanks for stopping by.